But yeah, guys, this is going to be best of 5. Khalid versus Luis in the blue, Khalid in the orange. I'm going to go ahead and tell him to get started here. We've got 6 matches on the day, 3 from EU, 3 from NA, and I'd say it's about time that we get this show kicked off. I've got to go with your prediction there, Matt. I don't think that Luis is ever the favorite in this one. You're crazy if you put him down as your favorite to win, because Khalid has just been outstanding for so long now.
I think most of the players are hoping that maybe he's a bit cold because he just qualified straight away in qualifier 1, and then hoping that maybe he's been chilling. I think we know his work ethic is better than that, but if you're grasping at straws as one of these other players, that might be one of the things you're looking for.
This is not a good start, though, for Luis. Khalid's got the open net, and he doesn't miss many of those. It's 1-0. Luis wanted to put the pressure on him at the start of this game with an early aerial play, and immediately Khalid has scored.
I wonder how long it's going to be until Luis pulls out the ultimate weapon, which is the text chat function, because that seems to be the only thing that has been able to beat Khalid in recent history.
Indeed. Well, we'll have to wait and see if he goes for anything like that. Like you said, Khalid qualified directly. He didn't get anywhere near as much practice as Luis in qualifying for this, playing all 4 of the qualifiers. But Luis, in his first qualifier, got swept by Khalid. Now, the games 1 and 2 of that series were actually pretty close. I was impressed with what I saw from Luis. Oh dear, that is not the best challenge, though. Khalid has just walked it past him.
Absolutely mind-gamed. Oh, poor boy. Call his parents.
Yeah, not exactly what Luis wanted in that play. He had an opening, in fact, as Khalid looked like he messed up his flick, and that, made him have to bring the ball down again. But Luis just timed it so badly. He was way too late and let Khalid skip past him. Nice air dribble, but it's a greater save by Khalid. Still, pressure for Luis, but Khalid is calm under all of that. And he's got the ball clear again. Luis really does need a good start in this series. It's after 2 games which were pretty close when these guys matched up in the past, the third game was just far too one-sided for my liking. Oh dear, Khalid's done him again!
Luis is looking way too jumpy for the very beginning of this series, but to be fair, maybe he can work out the nerves and it won't be such a big deal. But a bit jumpy in that first aerial attack, which is where I was hoping he would be the strongest, was left something to be desired. That's all I'll say. Certainly.
Here comes a good chance for Luis. He's got a lot of boost and a nearly perfect flick. Oh no, it's just not working out for him at the moment. And Khalid, I'm under pressure again, takes the ball down the line, no boost. Is he going to overextend? It's not likely. It's very rare to see that from Khalid, and he's actually played it very carefully. Got himself 100 boosts, and we're back into his half now. So these are the kind of plays you expect to see from Khalid, where he dribbles down the line with no boost. And now we're seeing the same thing again, but this time he has the boost, because really in that play he wasn't trying to score. He was just trying to even out that boost advantage that Luis had. Oh, good save, Luis, with a quick reaction there.
Yeah, really nice save. Luis is going to need to have a lot of plays like that where he's catching oKhaliD off guard. It was a really nice early challenge here. I think the first one that he's done in that fashion as well.
Yeah, Khalid was not expecting the early challenge in that position. Decided to pop the ball straight forward. And Luis, with a really good outcome, gets his first goal in the game. Still, it's been a comfortable lead for Khalid so far with multiple mind games, but the scoreline isn't gone away from Luis yet, and he's got some big plays, and that's a miss from Khalid. Shouldn't be too bad for him as he takes it back into his own half. But certainly still a very close one here in this best of 5.
I think you've casted oKhaliD more than anybody because he's done so many show matches on your stream.
Yeah.
What is it that you have seen be most effective against him?
No one. No, really, it's Joria's. It's all about not being easy to read in offense, and Joria's, I would say, is the hardest player for Khalid to read. The only other player who's ever beaten him in a series is FairJame with that insane grand finals that we saw in Fusion. This isn't going to cut it for Luis. He puts it in his own bottom corner. But yeah, if you're not playing out of your mind like FairJame is with, you know, the only player I've ever seen have anywhere near Khalid's mental game. And you're not as tricky as Roy is, and you're going to struggle to get him out of his comfort zone.
That makes sense. I think one of the interesting things about Khalid is he doesn't do a lot of insanely unpredictable techniques.
Oh, wow.
But he puts it like this. He puts himself in situations where he has so many options, right? So it's all the stuff he does right before shooting that gives him all these different options. Whereas a player like Jorius or Astral are going to do crazy things.
Yeah.
oKhaliD's doing really bread and butter stuff, but he's setting himself up for success well before he takes action.
Yeah, and it is very reminiscent of a lot of dominant players in ones. It's not that he doesn't have the tricks and the fancy plays. He can, you know, do that. I've seen so many flip reset goals for Khalid, so many air dribble goals, so many ceiling shots, but he doesn't need to take those risks like other players do. He can put a goal past them that's almost unsavable without taking himself out of the game. And that's what makes him so dangerous.
Yeah, I get the feeling oKhaliD would be great at poker.
I like that idea. I have no idea where it comes from. I love the thought there.
You know, discipline. Discipline is really important at the poker table, and I just think that he's an extremely disciplined player. But as you said, if he had to play crazy and take a lot of risks, he could.
Yeah,
but
he can.
You know, chooses not to, and so that's why I was thinking about poker.
Indeed, and you know, pretty much any 1v1 competitive game, really. If you're against someone who's just so unshakable and never seems to have a bad day, which I don't remember seeing Khalid have a bad day. In all of his losses, he's lost 2 series to Jorius and 1 to FairJame. They weren't bad series. He didn't, you know, look like he was completely out of those with no chance. He got barely beaten by players who were outstanding on the day. So if it takes that to beat him, that's just another thing that's a problem for Luiz. Great save by Khalid, who just doesn't look worried at all in this matchup, and it's bad news for Luiz because out of all the 3 games I've seen these two play before, this one looks like the one where Khalid just dominated, which was at the end of a series that Khalid is winning 2-0. If he can do this right out the gate, then what on earth is Luiz going to do? Just for you guys' information, he's not eliminated from this tournament if he does lose here. He will go down to the lower bracket. It's double elimination for this stage. But it won't get any easier there. This bracket is absolutely stacked.
Luiz had that last chance in front of the net there. One thing that he did that I didn't really care for there is he had plenty of boost, but he sort of ran away like immediately and let off a lot of pressure. And I think that when he gets these chances, he's going to have to stick around to take them. He's not going to continually get really, really great chances on net. So if you get one and Khalid's in trouble, if you can, you have to stick around and see it through.
Absolutely. Now, like I said before, this is such an important series for Luiz to get a good start in. In fact, I don't think he's got any chance at all if he loses this game too. You know, we've seen some players in the past coming back against Khalid and bringing it into game 5. Khalid usually wins when that happens. But yeah, Luiz is going to need to get this win, I feel, based on the results that I've seen from him in the qualifiers here. He's not someone who I think will have many opportunities to come back from that huge deficit against Khalid of being 2 games down. But we'll see, you know. It's been an exciting run so far for Luiz, making it in on points, having multiple deep runs in the qualifiers. But this is where he needs to step up. He's got to hit his shots. He's got to stop jumping past the ball. And he's got to somehow find a way of surprising probably the hardest player to surprise in the entire Rocket League world.
You know, the one thing he does have going for him here is that it looks like Khalid is warmed up.
Oh,
so,
no.
See, way too warmed up. But if anybody is likely to have a big change between game 1 and game 2, I would imagine it's Luiz. I'm sure there's a bit of nerves at playing like the best ones player in the world. So if that is true, then, you know, the biggest likelihood here is that we see a big change from Luiz.
Oh, certainly. He's got more room to improve, I would agree. That's a good bump, and Luiz will take the lead. Nicely done, as he snipes Khalid out the air. And this was quick as well. He didn't take a lot of time getting from defense to attack, and that's, I think, really helpful against Khalid, who would love to have some more time to reposition himself.
I said the other day when we arrived at the final players for the Salt Mine 2 that this bracket was filled with killers. I didn't really mean it like that, but Luiz taking it to a whole nother level.
It certainly is in that regard as well. Khalid just given far too much space, and Luiz has conceded his lead already. I think Luiz had an option to charge Khalid there. He had a big win potentially if he did. If he just rushed that ball and gets a good 50-50, then it's probably a goal because Khalid didn't have a lot of boost, but Luiz is trying to make saves on Khalid from point-blank range. He's maybe waiting to see if Khalid will hit the bar. It just doesn't really happen. You can't wait that long and hope for the lucky counter-attack.
Khalid far too effective for anybody to wait for him to be missing. I mean, you hear it in your voice when he missed that first shot in game 1. You're like, oh my god, Khalid missed! What is happening?
What?
You know?
It's just so rare, and Khalid now has baited the challenge in, and even that doesn't work. So this time, Luiz thought, don't want to sit on the goal line and suffer the same fate that I did on the previous play. I'm going to take my chances, going to dive in. But this time wasn't as good of an opportunity for him to do that because Khalid had lots of boost and he didn't have a high bouncing ball. He was just right behind it. So Luiz just maybe doing the wrong thing and he's, picked the right strategies, but backwards as Khalid walks around him again. The mind games are just ripping Luiz apart.
Yeah, this is a brutal dribble. You've said it before, but oKhaliD's ability to move the ball from side to side and to keep it low vertically so that there's no great opportunity for the opponent to challenge is second to none.
Oh yes, certainly. He just doesn't really give them any windows to strike with. That was open. Khalid just so composed, even though Luiz is right there. And Luiz looks like he is going to get the corner boost. Maybe make something happen. This is a big chance for him. Can he upset Khalid in this position? Yes, he can. Nice placement by Luiz. Khalid jumped early, and Luiz just kept on climbing and climbing, lifted it right over him.
Yeah, the Spaniard is good in the air. This is a place where he can beat Khalid. I mean, Khalid probably has a lot of the same skills, but Luiz is good enough in the air to be able to score those goals consistently. So I'd like to see him do it more.
And I think he needs to do that consistently, and he needs to do that over and over again to have a chance in this matchup. He's not going to beat Khalid in the ground game. I don't think it's going to happen, but like you said, in the air, he does have a chance. We've seen so many impressive goals from him in the qualifiers. So many, crazy goals. If you've not seen a lot of this guy play, then just go watch his qualification match against Tho, or the last match of the tournament he played against Tho. Just crazy stuff that he was able to produce over and over again with the consistency that you mentioned.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of salt in that game too. It was fun. Good times. First time I've ever seen a player leave a game and then come back while the game is still being played in order to stop the other player from scoring 100 goals.
Yeah, Luiz just wasn't going to leave. He wanted to beat the record. I still left with so much time left in the clock, just scoring kickoff goals over and over again. That's a pretty good air dribble bump here from Khalid. Luiz is looking to go underneath, but when your opponent is coming at you that fast, it doesn't tend to work. You don't have a big window to wait for them to fly over you and then hit the ball, because they both just fly by in the same few split seconds. There's an aerial play for Luiz, and he's caught Khalid again, and
yeah,
that's more like it. Like you said, pre-series, he needs to just keep on going into the air and hope for the best, and right now it is working.
Yeah, completely within grasp if Luiz continues to do these aerial bump plays, just aerial plays in general, where he's striking the ball well.
Oh wow, look at that boost steal from Khalid. He heard Luiz flipping in this direction, changed his mind because he knew he could beat him to that. So such knowledge of every position after a kickoff. It didn't beat Luiz by much there, but he's got the advantage in the play still. Oh, or does he? Luiz with the double touch, he's missed it. That is just a heartbreaker. It was right there for him, and he had to go for it. No recovery possible, but it bounces wide. Khalid leads again by 3 goals.
This is good though. He can taste it. It's close. He's not far off. Like, he's got a couple bad results here on some striking, but like, he's taking chances and they're working out. He's getting close. So I like the confidence, and I like the fact that he's making some changes to his play.
That's maybe open. Is Luiz going to be able to squeeze that in the bottom corner? No, he can't. Khalid actually passes to himself off the inside of the post. What a play that was. He missed the open net afterwards. But he totally caught Luiz out of position with that one. Fakes the demo. Khalid with an awkward landing though. Luiz is going to get another chance to make an aerial play off the left wall.
Game sense there by Luiz to hear Khalid coming and realize that he might need to back off so he doesn't get put out of position by that touch.
It didn't want to get beaten by the pinch. Right, Luiz trying to go underneath Khalid. Khalid is not going to let that happen. There's still time for Luiz in this game, but he needs to be so tricky. He needs to be so consistent. Aerial again. And it's on the goal line and in. Luiz is succeeding more often than not with the aerial plays.
Amazing control. I do that a lot personally. I do that a lot in ranked, as you know. That same move, so I'm glad to see it used here.
Yeah, I think I've heard Jesse say that as well when he was doing a viewing party of the Saltline qualifiers. It's amazing how often when a player makes a big play, it's exactly what Jesse would have done. Oh, look at the bump from Luiz. You're joking. How did he hit Khalid in this position? Just over a minute left, and he's back within a goal.
Ooh, Predator missile. This guy must be playing Call of Duty. That was incredibly accurate bump right there. Only respect for that.
He did really well. Khalid again waiting so long before committing. And another chance for Luiz. That is actually open in the top corner, and he's put it straight in. 6-all. What a comeback by the Spanish underdog. And it wasn't all aerials. He's got a really nice shot on this play as well, right after the kickoff. Can he keep this momentum going?
Minute left, 6-6. If anything is going to make Khalid at least a little bit nervous, it's
the pre-flip!
This.
Oh! He's still got the boost steal as well. Luiz putting in some really good plays at the end of this game. Khalid is looking for small boost pads, but here comes Luiz again with another bump, and Khalid's managed to avoid this one.
Yeah, really great evasion there by Khalid. Saw the bump coming in, jumped away. I'm not liking this play by Luiz, just giving possession away to Khalid. That's not something you ever want to do.
Oh, he nearly bumped him there. He's got the ball past him. Boost steal from Luiz. Will he have the confidence to go for this? Yes, he will. It's a really difficult angle, though. Luiz just taking his time. He's got a massive boost advantage in the play. If he can somehow get this ball up in the air, Khalid cannot reach him. And there it is, Luiz, so 10 seconds left. Gets the 1-goal lead. He just knew, if I can get this up high, there's just no way that Khalid's going to stop it.
Beautiful composure by Luiz. Take his time, let some seconds go by, make Khalid wait a bit, get a little bit nervous, and then drain it the top back post. Oh,
we've seen Khalid come back so many times in the final few seconds, though, and he does have the last play. Luiz has dove in, though, and Khalid has not read that. Luiz equalizes in the series. What a comeback win. Necessary comeback win, I feel. But with that game, we definitely have a series in our hands. I think it's even more important for him and even bigger for him that he got that win with a comeback and not just going in front off some misplays and stifling Khalid's attack. He was just constantly pressuring him. 16 shots in that game for Luiz.
I was going to ask what you meant by required, because mathematically definitely required that he gets the win in order to defeat oKhaliD. But I think your point is great, right? He can close the gap on I think he was down by 3 goals during that match. He can close the gap on a 3-goal lead on the best player in the world. That's going to give him great confidence for the next coming games, as well as any other matches that he plays in the tournament.
Yeah, he needs to produce exactly more of the same in this game. Now, Khalid, I think, got a little bit surprised by the early challenges of Luiz on occasion in that last game. He will have to look out for those. Start moving the ball more quickly. Now, he's read the fake this time and goes for one of his own. Luiz stays low. Will this be a problem for Khalid? I don't think it will. He's been in this position so many times. He knows what to do. He knows how to come back against players who are popping off. But he does need to be careful because Luiz is incredibly talented and he's got such difficult offense to stop when he's playing well. and he certainly was in that last game.
Ooh, nice demo. Probably not enough time to convert, but definitely an advantage.
He's going to play for that consistent boost steal again, and we did see quite a lot of consistent pressure from Luiz at the end of the second game. Khalid couldn't break free, couldn't grab boost, but this recovery from Luiz is extremely slow. I don't know what happened to him here. Did he miss a half flip or something? Because he took so long to get back. Oh, he just ended up completely stationary, really. And that is a mistake that Khalid will always punish.
Yeah, bit of a flop. Bit of a flop there. Poor recovery, and Khalid's going to sink that 100% of the time.
Khalid had the lead for a large part of the second game of this series, remember, and he's read another fake challenge from Luiz. Going to go for the bump, but Luiz has kept it out. What a landing as well. That is an unbelievable save, and he's almost snuck in a shot at the other side that wasn't really sitting very nicely for him off the wall.
Luiz is playing like he has nothing to lose right now, which is kind of true. And I think that his speediness in a couple of these situations in the transition plays is what's catching Khalid most off guard.
Yeah, Khalid needs to be careful. He's responded well to every challenge that Luiz has tried to put his way in this game, and this time he will bump him just a little tap from Khalid. And I feel like this is Khalid trying to fight fire with fire. We've seen so many air dribbles from Luiz. Khalid's going to remind him that he's not the only one in the lobby who can make these moves.
I wonder if there was a chance there for Luiz to go up a bit earlier and challenge that before oKhaliD put his car in front of the ball, but after reviewing it, I don't know if he was in position.
Oh, it's the early challenge from Khalid, and he's straight in. Luiz didn't see that one, and Khalid is starting to read him pretty consistently. You know, it's not just Luiz's challenges that are being predicted, but now Luiz's dribbles as well. And, you know, with how successful Luiz was in close quarters in game number 2, I don't think Khalid's very interested in letting him get that far up the field. If he sees any chance to challenge, he will go for it.
The keys to good striking are unpredictability. How much can you change it up? Your effectiveness at that. So how often do you score when you get a chance? And also your adaptability. Khalid obviously showing all three of those things. I think it remains to be seen if Luiz can continue to adapt enough as Khalid makes changes. What a save, though.
Yeah, perfectly.
Very nice save there from Luiz.
Yeah, really well hit, and he's hanging on right now. He needs to hang on. Khalid has still got the boost advantage in this play. Luiz has momentum, however. There's a shot from Khalid that will not be stopped. Luiz with the handoff, and this is not what you want to see from him. I don't know what he was planning with that touch, but it certainly didn't come to fruition.
Looking for Luiz to clean up these first touches. That's not the first time he's centered the ball or hit it too hard coming off the wall. Maybe take his time a little bit more, and I don't know, just maybe stop. I think these feel like panic options. A lot of these.
Oh, a miss from Khalid. Now maybe an opportunity for Luiz, who did not go for the corner boost run there. He realized his mistake and turned around early. Not that it would have mattered with that shot that hard from Khalid. This is impressive. Luiz just hasn't had a window to make those plays happen. In the last game, Khalid got a bit of a lead and decided, I'm just going to try and defend this. And that did not work against Luiz. When you give him opportunities to attack, he is very difficult to stop. That's a good shot. Ooh. And maybe a mistake from Khalid late in game number 3, as you know, he looked like he meant to dodge there, but ended up just jumping twice.
You love to see classic banger hook shots like that make their way into 1v1 still. It's extremely effective, very hard to save.
Very easy for lower ranked players to replicate. Just get that ball rolling, take a big run up. And you know, the key for these guys is all about when they start the run up. They don't drive slowly away from the ball, they boost away from the ball to build some momentum away in the opposite direction, and then turn quickly and use that to slingshot themselves back into it. 90 seconds left in game number 3. Khalid makes it 4 goals. And Luiz with this standoff defense has no more success than he did when he was diving in earlier. This is really, really difficult for him to find any kind of successful strategy.
At 0 points during that run-up did it look like there was a good time to challenge Khalid.
Yeah.
His quickness to get the ball into a position where he can shoot on the top of his hood when he's carrying the ball like that is so good that as a defender, when you're staring at him doing this, you just probably think to yourself, like, what am I supposed to do besides guess right now?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a stylistic thing. Some players would rather get outplayed than dive in and miss a challenge. Some players would rather, go in, challenge, and have it fail. Okay, that's another open net miss from Khalid, but he won't be too mad about it if he can keep ball control. Luiz is certainly the kind of player who'd rather go for a challenge and miss it than sit on his goal line and just get outplayed by a good shot. He wants to be aggressive whenever he can, but maybe it was just a long con here by Khalid. He just misses to keep control, knock more time off the clock, and now he puts the ball in.
I think, Luiz is trying to be aggressive. He realizes he has like a huge lead to surmount here, and being very, very aggressive. I'm not sure he would have made that lunge if it wasn't 1-5.
Yeah.
But and Khalid coming back looking even more effective than he was in game 1, and Luiz not looking bad. I think it should be said he's not making a ton of mistakes. It's maybe a couple rushed attempts at touches in front of the net. But what do you think Luiz needs to do to regroup and give Khalid a run for his money in this next match?
It's really tough. Luiz managed to win game number 2 partly because of his own incredible offensive ability, but Khalid also kind of let him attack. He wanted to see what would happen if he just defended and stayed back and didn't really put pressure on Luiz with his dribbling. And it didn't work out. And then this game, Khalid has adapted. He's thought, okay, well, that didn't work. When Luiz is allowed to pressure me, he is succeeding. And he's not really getting caught out in counter-attacking positions very often. So going into this game, it's been just total domination from Khalid of possession control. Luiz needs to make something out of pretty much every single time he gets to touch the ball. If he's not turning it into an attack, then he's probably not going to be getting goals in this either.
Khalid limiting Luiz to 5 shots in that round. The round before he had 16. So Khalid's defense and pressure really showing in that last game. And Luiz, I think for his confidence, he needs to come out swinging in this very first, on the very first point here, and try scoring some aggressive goals, whether that's off the ceiling, an aerial shot, whatever, something that makes him feel good as a player, and build up his confidence to remind himself that he does have the ability to make it happen like he did in game 2.
Absolutely. It's all about the flashy plays here for Luiz. He needs to build some momentum. He has to try and outplay Khalid.
Hey.
And that's not the most flashy play of all time, but with the boost that he had, I don't think you can do much better than this. Really well done by Luiz, just sniping the opening there.
I'm sure at this point he'll take whatever goal that he can get against Khalid.
Oh yeah.
With the classic bait and flick there, working really nicely for Luiz.
Yeah, you'll have to, like I said, take every opportunity he gets. Khalid is not giving him many chances on the ball. Again, Khalid reading the challenge somewhat here. Did not have really any fear of Luiz turning around and diving in on that one. Oh, Khalid is out of position though, and Luiz immediately converts. Great transition from the wall. What was Khalid thinking here? This very hesitant challenge.
You see it so often, players getting beat in their own back corner. You don't see it often happening to Khalid, but this is the exact type of start that you want if you're Luiz. Really, really confidence building, and obviously scoring 2 goals.
Well, that is some pretty good control with very little boost. The fact that Khalid manages to keep this in front of the goal cannot go understated. Like, if that ball bounces literally anywhere else, and Luiz is fine, but Khalid manages to keep it exactly there. Luiz, imagine challenging a ball and thinking, okay, anywhere is fine. Into that corner, over Khalid. Just anywhere but exactly where it is, and Khalid doesn't let you do that. It's really quite impressive control on the 50.
There's goals that drive you nuts as well. They're very similar to kickoff goals.
Yeah.
You expect to get a decent outcome. You're like, as you said, like any outcome will do. And then you can't help but feel like the other player got lucky doing it.
Yeah.
It was a really nice save by Luiz.
Yeah, that was a really, really good save. He's still in trouble, though, and Khalid has perfectly shot the ball into the top shelf. Yeah, it looked like Luiz just wasted a lot of boost there. Not sure if he thought he could win the race to that corner boost. Quite clearly not the case, as Khalid easily beats him to it. And when you've wasted, I think, 60 of your boost there to do absolutely nothing, you can't make it back to make the save.
He fell off the post,
yeah,
and his flip went early, so I think he used that boost to try to see if he could still potentially make it. But yeah, unfortunate situation there for Luiz. Certainly
risky. Will he stay composed? Will he be able to bounce back from that? We've seen in this series another example of Khalid responding incredibly well to a situation going poorly for him. He lost a pretty, I think, 3-goal lead in that second game, and then ended up losing the game with about 10 seconds to go. That's the kind of thing that can tilt a lot of players, but Khalid just straight away resets like it's nothing. Steamrolls game 3. And now Luiz losing a couple of goals that maybe he could have played better in preventing. He's got to try and just brush it off, move on, see what happens next.
Oh, very nice half flip challenge. I still think that the key to victory here for Luiz is this defensive effectiveness, making sure that when he does get a save that he gets control of the ball and possession of the ball.
Oh, here we go. Well, he has to do something with this one. Khalid has given it to him to go for the corner boost. Now, what is Luiz going to try and do? He wants to get the ball up in the air, wants to get a high bounce going. That's a complete opposite of Khalid, really, who's always about that low bounce and the rolling ball dribbles. Luiz always getting it as high as possible. That's a couple of early challenges in a row. Khalid didn't really predict them too well, but nothing bad came of it. Now, Luiz has to be careful. If he does that again, I think Khalid will see it coming. At least he is also reading Khalid's low 50-50 game, which has pretty much been his entire offense in this fourth game.
Such a low commitment option for the offensive player that I imagine that's one of the things that Khalid really likes about them. It doesn't put himself in a dangerous spot, even if it doesn't work.
I feel like he's conditioning Luiz to expect low plays over and over again, and then he's going to hit him with a flick. Well, there was an earlier flick to try and counter those challenges that Luiz had been throwing in. So well done by Luiz not to commit too often, mixing things up as well. Both of these guys are just trying to surprise each other with their challenges. It very much is a game of chess, and this isn't what we expected Luiz to be playing well in. We thought it would be a mechanical battle if he's tall close to Khalid in the matchup. So showing that he's got more than one feather in his cap here. His flicks from Khalid after many a low 50-50, and Luiz prevents that one as well.
Decent touch there for Luiz, but Khalid, the master of 50-50s. These fadeaway 50-50s, or you know, the ones where he's absorbing the shock of the 50-50 are just so effective.
Wow, it just is something else entirely. Luiz must be. I mean, how can you not be tilted after this? 2 goals in this game are just 50-50s, where it doesn't look like he's anywhere close to having a 50% chance to winning. He just bounces off the ball, and Khalid is right there with it. To make matters worse, Khalid has another possession. He's got a bit of an angle on this one, and that is enough for the shot to go past Luiz. 2-goal game. Luiz has it all to do.
What do you do? When Khalid has a bounce dribble like that with that angle, what can you do besides guess? And unfortunately, Luiz guessed wrong.
He needs some big kickoffs here. He's not going to get one. This is even worse now for Luiz. He's not going to get back and save Khalid's shot here. And on the day, after an extended and extremely long passage of play with no goals, Khalid breaks the deadlock and follows it up with 2 more. 3-goal comeback was made by Luiz in game 2, but he's got less time to do it this 4th game of the series. He has to do it. This is best of 5, upper bracket. The winner is advancing to a position in this tournament where they'll have 2 chances of winning a best of 5 to make it into the top 4 of the tournament. Luiz will need to win 2 in a row if he loses this. Oh, Khalid's going to waste the time. That is just so smart. Luiz had already committed back. Poor Luiz. What do you do in this position? Like you said, it just feels so helpless.
Khalid, a savvy ones player. He might not get too salty himself, but I still have a feeling he likes generating salt in others.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's going to be the salt in the wound there. As Khalid, he's not even going to score the open net. He takes the ball back into his half again. Now, it is possible that we see a rematch between these two later in the tournament if Luis wins his next 2 games in a row and Khalid ends up winning his next one as well. They will face each other in the semi-finals. But that is just incredible. Khalid looking every bit as good as we thought he would.
Masterclass put on by Khalid on what the modern, one's meta should look like. Yes, it should include some fancy goals. It should include some mechanical prowess, but a lot of the fundamentals are there, right? The low bounce dribble, being very effective with your possessions, mastering the 50-50, which far too many players think are random occurrences. If you watch that game, that's a pretty direct contradiction to that theory. That 50-50s are clearly something that you can use to your advantage. And yeah, Khalid, again, just putting on a world-class performance here that I think if anybody's watching this that's in this tournament, they're probably feeling like, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do against this guy. I'm going to try something, but I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, and Khalid will play against the winner of Astral and apparently Jack in the next round of the upper bracket. And Astral versus apparently Jack is what's coming up next on the day. So far, no real surprises. That series did pretty much go as we expected it would. But Astral versus apparently Jack, I don't even know what to expect from that one, to be honest. This is really an exciting series to look forward to. But you guys aren't going to have to wait for too long. We'll be back in 5 minutes with the setup for that match. Don't go anywhere.
Khalid's defense and pressure really showing in that last game. And Luis, I think for his confidence, he needs to come out swinging in this very first, on the very first point here, and try, scoring some aggressive goals, whether that's off the ceiling, an aerial shot, whatever, something that makes him feel good as a player, and build up his confidence to remind himself that he does have the ability to make it happen like he did in Game 2.
Absolutely. It's all about the flashy plays here for Luis. He needs to build some momentum. He has to try and outplay Khalid. And that's not the most flashy play of all time, but with the boost that he had, I don't think you can do much better than this. Really well done by Luis, just sniping the opening there.
I'm sure at this point he'll take whatever goal that he can get against Khalid.
Oh yeah.
But the classic bait and flick there, working really nicely for Luis.
Yeah, you'll have to, like I said, take every opportunity he gets. Khalid is not giving him many chances on the ball. Again, Khalid reading the challenge somewhat here. Did not have really any fear of Luis turning around and diving in on that one. Oh, Khalid is out of position though, and Luis immediately converts. Great transition from the wall. What was Khalid thinking here? This very hesitant challenge.
See it so often, players getting beat in their own back corner. You don't see it often happening to Khalid, but this is the exact type of start that you want if you're Luis. Really, really confidence building, and obviously scoring 2 goals.
Well, that is some pretty good control with very little boost. The fact that Khalid manages to keep this in front of the goal cannot go understated. Like, if that ball bounces literally anywhere else and Luis is fine, but Khalid manages to keep it exactly there. Luis, imagine challenging a ball and thinking, okay, anywhere is fine. Into that corner, over Khalid, just anywhere but exactly where it is, and Khalid doesn't let you do that. It's really quite impressive control on the 50.
There's goals that drive you nuts as well. They're very similar to kickoff goals.
Yeah.
You expect to get a decent outcome. You're like, as you said, like any outcome will do. And then you can't help but feel like the other player got lucky doing it.
Yeah.
It was a really nice save by Luis.
Yeah, that was a really, really good save. He's still in trouble though, and Khalid has perfectly shot the ball into the top shelf. Yeah, looked like Luis just wasted a lot of boost there. Not sure if he thought he could win the race to that corner boost, Quite clearly not the case, as Khalid easily beats him to it. And when you've wasted I think 60 of your boost there to do absolutely nothing, you can't make it back to make the save.
He fell off the post,
yeah,
and his flip went early, so I think he used that boost to try to see if he could still potentially make it. But yeah, unfortunate situation there for Luiz.
Certainly risky. Will he stay composed? Will he be able to bounce back from that? We've seen in this series another example of Khalid responding incredibly well to a situation going poorly for him. He lost a pretty, I think, 3-goal lead in that second game, and then ended up losing the game with about 10 seconds to go. That's the kind of thing that can tilt a lot of players, but Khalid just straight away resets like it's nothing. Steamrolls game 3. And now Luiz losing a couple of goals that maybe he could have played better in preventing. He's got to try and just brush it off, move on, see what happens next.
Oh, very nice half flip challenge. I still think that the key to victory here for Luiz is this defensive effectiveness, making sure that when he does get a save, that he gets control of the ball and possession of the ball. Oh,
here we go. Well, he has to do something with this one. Khalid has given it to him to go for the corner boost. What is Luiz going to try and do? He wants to get the ball up in the air, wants to get a high bounce going. That's a complete opposite of Khalid, really, who's always about that low bounce and the rolling ball dribbles. Luiz always getting it as high as possible. That's a couple of early challenges in a row. Khalid didn't really predict them too well, but nothing bad came of it. Now, Luiz has to be careful. If he does that again, I think Khalid will see it coming. At least he is also reading Khalid's low 50-50 game, which has pretty much been his entire offense in this fourth game.
Such a low commitment option for the offensive player that I imagine that's one of the things that Khalid really likes about them. It doesn't put himself in a dangerous spot, even if it doesn't work.
I feel like he's conditioning Luiz to expect low plays over and over again, and then he's going to hit him with a flick. Well, there was an earlier flick to try and counter those challenges that Luiz had been throwing in. So well done by Luiz not to commit too often, mixing things up as well. Both these guys are just trying to surprise each other with their challenges. It very much is a game of chess, and this isn't what we expected Luiz to be playing well in. We thought it would be a mechanical battle if he's tall close to Khalid in the matchup. So showing that he's got more than one feather in his cap here. His flicks from Khalid after many a low 50-50, and Luiz prevents that one as well.
Decent touch there for Luiz, but Khaled's a master of 50-50s. These fadeaway 50-50s, or you know, the ones where he's absorbing the shock of the 50-50 are just so effective.
Wow, it just is something else entirely. Luiz must be, I mean, how can you not be tilted after this? 2 goals in this game are just 50-50s, where it doesn't look like he's anywhere close to having a 50% chance to winning. He just bounces off the ball, and Khalid is right there with it. To make matters worse, Khalid has another possession. He's got a bit of an angle on this one, and that is enough for the shot to go past Luiz. 2-goal game. Luiz has it all to do.
What do you do? When Khalid has a bounce dribble like that with that angle, what can you do besides guess? And unfortunately, Luiz guessed wrong.
He needs some big kickoffs here. He's not going to get one. This is even worse now for Luiz. He's not going to get back and save Khalid's shot here. And on the day, after an extended and extremely long passage of play with no goals, Khalid breaks the deadlock and follows it up with 2 more. 3-goal comeback was made by Luiz in game 2, but he's got less time to do it this 4th game of the series. He has to do it. This is best of 5, upper bracket. The winner is advancing. So a position in this tournament, well, they'll have 2 chances of winning a best of 5 to make it into the top 4 of the tournament. Luiz will need to win 2 in a row if he loses this. Oh, Khalid's going to waste the time. That is just so smart. Luiz had already committed back. Poor Luiz. What do you do in this position? Like you said, it just feels so helpless.
Khalid, a savvy ones player. He might not get too salty himself, but I still have a feeling he likes generating salt in others.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's going to be the salt in the wound there. As Khalid, he's not even going to score the open net. He takes the ball back into his half again. Now, it is possible that we see a rematch between these two later in the tournament if Luiz wins his next 2 games in a row, and Khalid ends up winning his next one as well. They will face each other in the semi-finals. But that is just incredible. Khalid looking every bit as good as we thought he would.
Masterclass put on by Khalid on what the modern, one's meta should look like. Yes, it should include some fancy goals. It should include some mechanical prowess, but a lot of the fundamentals are there, right? The low bounce dribble, being very effective with your possessions, mastering the 50-50, which far too many players think are random occurrences. If you watch that game, that's a pretty direct contradiction to that theory. That 50-50s are clearly something that you can use to your advantage.